Hello, my friend. I am so excited to dive into this week's podcast episode for you on this week's astrology. Oh my goodness. This is going to be quite a week. We have Mercury ending its retrograde this week. We also have one of the most awaited transits of the year happening this week. In this week's episode, I'll be diving deep into the astrology of this week for you. I will also be sharing 33 lessons I've learned at the age of 33 during my Christ year. This will be part 1. I will be doing part 2 in next week's episode. I will then dive into your tarot reading for this week, what energy to embrace, what energy to let go of. So let's just dive right into it. Starting off this week's episode, if you missed last week's episode on the full moon in Aquarius, we will be feeling that energy for quite some time, for at least the next 2 weeks. So go back to see that episode if you've missed it. It is a very intense full moon. And if you want to manifest for the full moon in Aquarius, I am hosting a full moon in Aquarius manifestation ritual with the Moon Sign Creative Community. It's going to be so powerful, so good to just release any stuck energy, any tension that you're feeling so that you can call in your manifestations. I am hosting it on Monday, August 11th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Replays are available if you can't make it live, yet honestly, community is so important to me, and I have one of the best communities out there. Everyone is so sweet, so kind, so empathetic. And also, they've manifested such amazing things while being in the community. We have that support, but also our manifestations are amplified in community. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I'll leave a link to that down below, and I'm excited to see you for this full moon ritual. Now, starting off on August 11th, Mercury finally ends its retrograde in the sign of Leo. This has been a very interesting, dramatic Mercury retrograde in Leo. And I would say a lot of it has been a bit more intense because of the opposition to Pluto in Aquarius. So you could have heard a few things come out, you could have heard some secrets come out during this time. And I want you to now check back to see what was happening for you around June 29th, 2025. That is when Mercury was at 4 degrees of Leo, which is now where it's ending its retrograde. So knowing this, a similar topic of conversation is coming up for you. Perhaps similar people or just a similar situation, and you're seeing things now in a different perspective. So go check that out, go see what was happening for you. Let me know in the comments. I'm super curious. I'm hoping the retrograde kind of gave you some reflection as to what to kind of think on, what you need to pause. And I do know that communication is going to greatly improve after this retrograde, which is great. We will still be in the shadow period for the next 2 weeks, yet it's not going to be as intense as the actual retrograde. So with this Mercury retrograde, you could have really been rethinking a lot when it came to your identity, your sense of self, how you wanted to express yourself, how you wanted to be more creative, or just understanding how you can be seen more. What does this look like in terms of your business, in terms of your friendships, in terms of what's currently happening in your life? You can also check back to see the Mercury retrograde horoscopes I posted for you just to see what has come into fruition. I'll leave a link to that down below. Now on August 12th, we have one of the most awaited transits of the year happening in the sky. This is Venus meeting up with Jupiter in the sign of Cancer. So around August 12th, you could hear some good news, or you could just feel as though you're being uplifted by your family or an emotional situation. Maybe you're feeling a bit more emotionally fulfilled. You could just feel like some growth is happening in your life in the Cancer area of your chart. We will go through this in depth in the full moon in Aquarius ritual with the Moon Sign Creative Community if you want a mini reading during that time. Yet with this energy collectively, we are feeling this expansion of how we are seeing our values, especially when it comes to who we feel is connected to us when it comes to our family. What does family look like to us? What does home look like to us? How can we feel more emotionally fulfilled? And this could just be a day where you're hearing some really good news around a home or family situation. This could also just be more so inner knowing and feeling that you're feeling a bit more emotionally uplifted in a situation. So if you've been going through kind of a turbulent time during this Mercury retrograde, I do feel like on the 12th, you're going to feel a little bit more emotionally secure, or at least feeling emotionally a bit better about the situation. Now, on the same day, we have Saturn in Aries retrograde in a sextile to Uranus in Gemini. This is actually quite lovely. This is very supportive. Something unexpected could happen around your friends, your local community, your siblings, yet it's also helping you see who is with you in the long run. How do you feel this support through your friends, through your local community, through your siblings potentially? And this is an energy of, okay, I'm having these conversations and I'm feeling as though I needed to hear this to plan ahead, to take the next step. I will say this can be a little bit surprising, however, more so in a good way, where you're just feeling as though you gain some information from a close friend or a sibling or someone in your local community, and it's making you feel as though you have a better grasp of your sense of self, or you're feeling as though your boundaries are being very respected at the moment, which is great. This could also just be you're connecting with someone and you're getting this new idea, and it's making you more excited about planning out your long-term goals. Now on August 15th, we have Mercury in Leo sextile to Mars in Libra. This feels super lovely. This looks like someone is aligning their words with their actions. This could be you, this could be another relationship. This looks like follow through, which is honestly so helpful, so lovely. If you felt like things were so delayed during the retrograde, if you felt like there's just been so much that has been frustrating, or you've been met with roadblocks, or people haven't gotten back to you, this is a really good energy in terms of progressing forward with what you want to do in terms of work and relationships. I will say this energy looks like a collaboration. Perhaps you team up with someone this day, perhaps you get on a podcast episode with someone, or you are in a place where you're doing a collaboration or a team member situation at work, and you're able to communicate in a way that's more exciting, very creative, but also very encouraging. So this looks really, really helpful. I will say that this is a really good time to do some creative work with a friend. If you have a project, maybe it's asking for help from a team member. This also looks like a really fun date. If you go out with someone during this time, it could just feel really flirty. It could feel very fun. It could feel as though you're being seen, and honestly, a very lovely day. So this is very, very helpful. And I will say this transit will last until the 18th. So there's this really lovely energy this week because of this support. So if you're in a place where you really want to align your actions with your words and you're having a bit of trouble with this, this is a day to really focus on this, to really build that self-trust with yourself. So those are the major transits of this week. I am super excited to hear what has been happening for you. Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear it. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe because it would really help me out. Now let's dive into this week's topic. So I have my birthday on August 8th. I am filming this ahead of time so I could take a bit of time off. And I'm turning 34 this year. By the time you watch this, I am 34. Now for myself, I really love reflective podcast episodes of the year before and also the lessons learned from that year. I love listening to them from other people, so I thought I would share my lessons that I've learned in this previous year. Now I will be making a part 2 to this, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to do this episode on the first 17 lessons. Originally I was going to do 8 lessons, however, I was like, okay, you know what? I can think of so many lessons I've learned this year and some really good reminders because, you know, sometimes we could forget what we actually need to know. So I will say, I just want to give a brief overview of my previous year, which was my Christ year. And I did mention this in a previous episode, yet I had some really big expectations for my Christ year. So your Christ year is the age of 33. It is the 10th house perfection year, meaning that it has a huge emphasis on your career, your reputation, your legacy, your public image. For myself, I felt as though I was expecting a lot more from my Christ year, and I know that is my own internal thing that I am working through. And the thing is, I still had some amazing, amazing moments of this year that I am so grateful for. One of them being I got monetized on YouTube, and that's taken me 5 years to show up consistently on YouTube. There was a year or two where I didn't show up at all. It was harder for me to be on multiple platforms. Yet for myself, looking back at this year, the monetization was the biggest thing for me. I was also featured in Canadian Living, which was an interview, and that was really, really lovely. That was my first magazine interview that was published. There were others, but they weren't published. And for myself, this was really, really great, I would say. However, I had some mixed feelings about this year. And that honestly makes sense because my 10th house perfection year in my birth chart would be my moon in Cancer. So it's a very moody, it's more so how I feel about my reputation and my public image. It's less about being seen, but more so me portraying my emotions online. And I would say that this year was a great year. It was. Honestly, I feel like I get happier every single year, and that in itself is a huge, huge blessing. I think for myself, it is falling into the trap of comparison with other people and what a promotion looks like when it comes to working for yourself. That is a very interesting thing. I know previous clients who have booked a reading with me when they go into their Christ year. This could be a time when you change careers completely. You get into something that's much more aligned for you. This could also be a time when you get promoted at work. This could also be a time when you're seen by more people. Maybe you get more reach on social media, for example, or you really are acknowledged by the public in some way, or potentially you are focused on your legacy. May this be writing a book, may this be having a family, starting a family, whatever that may be. And I've had friends and also clients who have gotten such amazing, amazing up levels in their life during their Christ year. So it's always so interesting to me to witness this. So for myself, I got super, super excited for my Christ year because I wanted to see what was in store for me. Yet again, I think I had some very high expectations, and I think that also disappointed me for not reaching those expectations. So I wanted to give some context to this previous year for you. And now let's get into the lessons I've learned. I'm going to start with the first 17 lessons, which is quite a lot. The first being travel isn't going to change your happiness level. And this is very controversial, I know. Yet for myself, I kept thinking travel was the solution for me for quite a few things. Last year, I got the privilege of traveling to Lisbon for about 2 weeks, and it was honestly beautiful. It was such a great trip. Yet again, the dark side of my Virgo stellium is I have very high expectations in certain cases, and I think for myself, I thought it was going to change things for me in a huge way. Yet it was more so an internal shift I felt, and it made me realize, okay, I'm more at peace than I've ever been before. I've entered this amazing new stage of my life where I can feel so grateful for anything I have. And I actually started to miss Toronto even when I was in Lisbon. So you can see my Cancer moon. I really do love where I was born. I love my home. It is this interesting tendency for me where I do want to travel more. I do want to experience different cultures and new places. Yet I had this expectation of traveling, solving my problems, or traveling in a sense to reach a different stage in my life faster. And in some ways, I did. I do feel like I was a bit more free after I came back to Toronto. I'm trying to describe that feeling, but it was more so a feeling of letting go of the past that I experienced on my trip, which was amazing, very needed, very necessary. I think our souls kind of crave going to a certain destination, and there's something that you need to learn in that destination. So my soul was craving to go to Lisbon, and I was feeling very called to do so. So I do think I went for a reason. I think it was such a beautiful trip. It's a lifelong memory for me now, which I love so much. Yet there is a part of me that feels as though, okay, this isn't still what I expected. I really expected it to be this huge life-changing thing. And I have traveled in the past before. I've traveled to the States multiple times. I've traveled to Serbia when I was younger, and that did change my perspective a lot in terms of just societies in general and different cultures as well, because my background is Serbian. So it's just really, really interesting to reflect on this, but I am very, very grateful I got to go. I am super blessed. I do feel that gratitude, yet I wasn't happier coming back. I wasn't in this blissful state that I thought I would be in when traveling. So that was really interesting for me. So I really think that was a huge lesson I had to learn and experience, and I'm so grateful for that experience. Honestly, so blessed. Now, number two, sometimes you don't need to learn more, you just need to start creating more. This is something I easily get trapped into. I keep thinking, I just need to learn more before I do this. I just need to really research more, take more courses, read more books before I start creating. So I easily get trapped in this. I do think it's important to learn more. Yet if you're just absorbing a lot of information and you're not taking action, this is your sign to take more action, because sometimes we can get easily trapped in that cycle. Yet for myself, it's realizing, no, I need to just prioritize creating more for myself, for other people, to help more people with my work. So that was a huge lesson I learned this year. Number three, your thoughts become reality. So make sure your default thought is loving and positive. This is huge. This is still something I'm learning every single year. I think I've mentioned this previously, yet this is really understanding your default state. So this is making sure you're present every day. Something one of my coaches helped me through this year was to help me stay more present during the day and just start to observe which thoughts come to mind for you. What do you automatically assume? What is the first thought that comes to your head? And then challenge that thought if it's not positive. So what's really, really helped me with this is overnight affirmations. I think that has been a game changer for me and my life. I have some free overnight affirmations if you want to play them overnight. That really helps you reprogram your subconscious mind so that your automatic default state is more positive, especially when it comes to money or love or anything that you're feeling kind of uncertain about. So leave a link to that down below if that helps you. And I will say this has been really interesting for me because I've been working on my mindset for the last few years, yet I'm still in this default state where I'm recognizing my default thoughts can still be more so fear or doubt or anxiety. And I have to catch it and just be like, no, actually, the best possible case scenario can happen for me. Actually, I'm doing a great job. Actually, I know that my work is helping people. For example, number 4, stop chasing friends. This honestly is a bit heartbreaking for me, yet for myself, it is learning at this age that you need to prioritize friends that show up for you. And there are going to be some friends that you feel like you're constantly the one reaching out to them. Now, I will say and preface this that sometimes people are just depressed. Sometimes people need that reassurance, or friends need that support by, you reaching out to them. However, if you are the one that is constantly reaching out, you're the one chasing a friend, it's not really the best friendship for you. And for myself, I'm reminded of this every single year with a different friend. And it's been really interesting for me to take note of this and realize, actually, I'm good. Actually, I'm going to take a step back and prioritize the friends that really, really show up for me. Number 5, people will flatter you and love bomb you to get something from you. They may not be fully conscious of it, yet there is something to be said by this. So I've experienced this with dating recently in the last year, and it's interesting. Sometimes you know when compliments are genuine, and even if compliments are very genuine, I want to say this. If someone is not at the most aligned state to be in a relationship, that flattery, that love bombing, that is going to look more so like, okay, I want to just be in this person's energy and I want to get whatever I can in this situation. And for me, it was a very interesting Neptune situation that happened for me where I started to realize I got lost in terms of someone love bombing me. And I had to take a step back and realize, oh, I'm giving more now because of this, and it's not fair to me. And they were trying to take and take and take. And I realized this, luckily, early on, yet I want you to be super cautious if you're at the beginning stages of dating to realize when someone's actually being genuine, when they are complimenting you. And sometimes they are. I will say sometimes people are genuinely complimenting you. Yet for myself, it was realizing they might not be fully conscious of what they're doing. And that's still not fair to you. Number 6, if you're confused, it's a no. Enough said with that. If you're confused about a person or a situation, most likely your answer should be no. Number 7, you are what you do every day. This is huge. This is so, so huge. Whatever you do every single day, that is the person you become. Yes, it's not only what you believe about yourself, your thoughts do become reality. Yet if you are not taking action from the things you're learning, from the thoughts you're thinking, it's still not your reality. So you need to take action from those thoughts. You need to take action in terms of who you are becoming. And sometimes it's easier to take the action before you think the thought. So for example, it's sometimes easier to walk an hour a day before thinking you are a healthy person. those are going to really help you establish a new identity. For myself, I really feel like I'm a really healthy person now. Yet now, every day, I'm walking at least an hour a day. That's really helped me in terms of my clarity, in terms of my health, in terms of my focus. I also do weight training 2 to 3 times a week. I also create quite often, I would say almost every day, not every day, but quite often. I also journal every day. I also do things that really, really help me in terms of becoming the person I want to become. So focus on the things you do every single day. That is going to change your life. Number 8, you're not waiting until you're ready. You just need to decide you're ready now. This can be a sore spot for some people. I will say that, because sometimes, yes, a situation has to be presented to you, but a lot of the time we think an external thing needs to happen for us to be ready. Yet most of the time it's our fear getting in the way of what we actually want to be doing in terms of what we actually want for our lives. So you get to decide when you're ready. Remind yourself of this. Yes, you don't have to rush the process, but ask yourself, how are you limiting yourself? How are you holding yourself back? Ask yourself this. Number 9, create before you consume. This is a good reminder for me. Sometimes I can doom scroll on TikTok. Sometimes it's really fun. Sometimes I'm binge watching certain things. Yet as a creator and a YouTuber and an astrologer, I know I need to create before I consume. So I give myself this rule of I need to post at least one thing before I consume content, or at least create something new before I consume content. And this has helped me immensely. Number 10, focus is life-changing. I will say though, it's quite hard to focus. So this has been a lesson for me throughout this entire year. It's still something I'm working on, and focus was one of my main words of the year. Yet I would say this is my most unfocused year from previous years. Other than, I shouldn't say that, because I did get monetized on YouTube. I did have that focus for YouTube, so I did have quite a bit of focus on that. However, I really felt like I was struggling with my focus this year. It has been something that has been going back and forth for me. And yes, you have to remove distractions. Yes, there is this tricky, sticky situation with focus because we're in a society where it's harder to focus now more than ever. And it's finding something that really helps you, maybe putting your phone away when you're doing certain work, perhaps setting aside that time, and time blocking has helped me immensely. I do a lot of my focused work in the morning because that's when I'm most focused and I have the most energy, at least for myself. This is something I might return to in a new episode, but I wanted to really point this out because focus is life-changing. When you're super focused, you will get things done so easily. Try and prioritize your focus as much as possible and set yourself up for success. 11, enjoy the journey. This is a reminder I need over and over and over again. Enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. Stop getting fixated on the result. Stop getting fixated on the destination. Enjoy the present moment. Stay present, meditate, do something to remind yourself you're alive right now and feel alive in this moment. Number 12, your mind will try to sabotage you. So be aware of this. Your mind is trying to sabotage you because it wants to keep you safe. If you're growing, if you have big dreams, if you have big goals, your mind is trying to protect you, and it's going to sabotage you to tell you, actually, just do the bare minimum. Actually, you don't need to go that far. Actually, you're okay where you're at. Actually, you don't need to invest in that mentor or coach. Actually, you don't need to do these things. Your mind is sabotaging you because that next level of success is scary. Your mind doesn't know what is on the other side. So remind yourself of this when you're doubting yourself, if you really want to invest in a mentor, a coach, a therapist, an astrologer, or a course, listen to your intuition on it. Really see what your soul is craving and not what your mind is saying. Really focus on that. That has been a huge lesson for me. 13, break out of your routine at least once a week. This is going to help so much. This is going to help you really also appreciate time a lot more, but try to visit a new place in your neighborhood once a week, or go to a different coffee shop or a different restaurant, or take a different route to work, or see a different friend. Whatever that may be, that's going to help so much with your growth, because you need to do different things in order to grow. You need to also break free from your daily routine, because that's going to keep you stuck and make you feel like you're not progressing. So break out of your routine at least once a week. Number 14, selling is service. The more you sell, the easier it becomes, and the more people are going to buy because the more you sell, right? So if you're afraid of, I'm being too much, people are going to get annoyed, people are going to unsubscribe, all these things, some people will, but they're not going to buy from you anyway, and they're not going to actually gain all that help and knowledge you're giving away for free, because they're so focused on whatever is free. So continue to sell if you have a business, because that is actually a gift you're giving to someone. You're showing them, actually, this is how I can help you. And some people are going to really resonate with this and really need what you're offering. They really need your support. That is why I talk about my birth chart reading so much. That's why I talk about my course so much in terms of learning astrology and how much it's been life-changing for me. And I just want other people to experience it, because it's been such a game changer in my life. Yet, just know this, if you have your own business, continue to show up, stop caring what other people think, because it's not worth it, and just know the right clients will find you. They've definitely found me. Number 15, you most likely already know the answer. You just need to listen to your intuition. I'm just going to say that. Really, when you're confused, when you are seeking answers externally, most of the time you need to refocus on yourself and really listen to your intuition of what your body is trying to tell you, what your inner knowing, your soul is trying to tell you. I will say actually not your body, because your nervous system could be in a chaotic state. So be aware of this and be aware of the difference. But your intuition is a deep soul knowing. It is an inner guidance. If you're getting lost around what is the voice of your intuition, it is more so a whisper of like, no, I know I need to do this. No, actually, this feels right for me. Or actually, this doesn't feel good to me, right? Listen to your gut, listen to your intuition. Number 16, stop complaining and start appreciating. This is always a good reminder for me. I need to be really conscious and aware of my blessings, and also just the fact that what you speak into the world is a spell. And the more you complain, the more of that energy you're going to get, the more it's going to come into your external state. So really be aware of what you're saying and the words you're speaking, and really be conscious as to what is possible for you. How can you appreciate where you're currently at? I'm still on that journey with you. I am very, very grateful for what I have. Honestly, I have my dream routine, and that in itself is a blessing and a privilege, and I'm so, so, so grateful for that. So again, sometimes we all need those reminders. Stop complaining and just appreciate what you currently have. 17, let people show up for you, right? And this means sometimes it's taking a step back and seeing who shows up for you, right? Sometimes we want to fix things right away. We want to be there for other people. We're like, actually, no, I need to fix this right now. I need to do this right now. I need to reach out to this person. I need to go do this. Actually, This is another lesson I've learned through friendships. I've just been noticing which friends really show up for me without me asking. It's been life-changing to witness. It's been really, really interesting to witness. And yes, sometimes you should ask for help. Yes, sometimes you should reach out to that person, of course. But if you are someone, again, who constantly is the person reaching out, just see who reaches out to you. See what feels good to you in terms of your soul, in terms of the love you have. Of course, you can love everyone, right? You can show that love to everyone, but be aware of this and let people show up for you. Let people initiate. Let people plan things. Let people do these things. As someone with Mars and Virgo, that can be my challenge, but it's been a really interesting thing for me, especially with dating. It's been really nice to just let a guy lead and also just see what happens. And I'm like, oh, let's see. You know, it's just a more fun way to do things, and to find that balance for yourself is going to be so great, so nourishing, and also very healing. So I will be sharing part 2 in next week's episode. I hope you enjoyed these lessons. Let me know in the comments what resonated with you the most. I'd love to hear it. And if you've made it this far, comment pineapples. I love to hear it. And also, if you'd like a private birth chart reading with me, I have just one spot left for August. If you're watching this, it might have been already taken. I'm not sure yet. Yet I also have just a few limited spots in September, most likely about 5 spots. So if you'd like a private session with me to go through your birth chart, to really dive deep into it and really understand your family patterns, your relationships, your finances, your career, and how they are all connected in a deeper way, you can book a session with me. I'll leave a link to that down below. I'm excited to read your birth chart. Now let's get into your tarot reading for this week. Okay, so the first card out is the 3 of Pentacles. You could be collaborating on something this week. You might need to discuss things with other people, and you're really working hard to see how you can show up to the people around you. This could also look like a presentation. Maybe you're presenting something new to a group of people. I do find this to be a very helpful energy, so take note of this. But I do think collaboration this week is really emphasized for you. So if you're able to collaborate, or you're thinking about this with someone else, or just to connect with people in this way, perhaps your team at work or your business, reach out to that person and ask for that collaboration, because that's going to be super, super helpful for you. The next card out is the 8 of Cups. So you're leaving behind a difficult situation this week. Amazing. I think this makes sense with the Mercury retrograde ending. This looks really lovely. It could have felt very emotionally difficult for you during the retrograde or during the full moon in Aquarius. This is honestly you really listening to your intuition of when to walk away, and also how can you take a step back and just focus on the journey you're on, focus on where you're heading. That's going to be super, super helpful for you. The next card out is the 6 of Pentacles reverse. So this week, you're trying to let go of overgiving in a situation. May this be a relationship, may this be a career, or maybe something at your job. You're trying to let this go. You're trying to not also keep score. I'm hearing this message of like, stop keeping score on certain situations. You're trying to let this go now, and you're just trying to take a step back, have a breather, and really change the dynamic of a relationship. So this is a letting go of overgiving, overcompensating, being in a very codependent relationship, and realizing, no, I'm not gonna just settle for scraps. No, I'm going to really stand in my power and receive graciously. So I love this energy. This is a letting go of this situation or this person, or just changing that dynamic. I asked what our challenge is this week. We got the Four of Wands. This looks like expectations, which makes sense because that was my biggest challenge. Yet this is you thinking, I have to do all these things in order to be this happy. I need to be at this place in order to be happy. I need to be at this stage before I celebrate. Celebrate what you have now. Celebrate your wins now. This is honestly a beautiful card of celebration, yet you're looking at someone else. You're looking at a different perspective and you're not seeing, actually, I have that too. I have this ability too. I have this strength too. I have this creativity too. I am worthy of being seen in the same way as the people I admire. That is the channeled message I'm hearing for you. I asked what would help us overcome this. We got the Tower card reverse. An internal shift is needed. This is going to be a wake-up call internally. I do think the full moon in Aquarius is going to help you with this. This feels, not going to lie, uncomfortable. It was a very uncomfortable full moon. Still great time to manifest though. Yet this is you really changing your emotional state and realizing, actually, there's something I'm still holding on to that I need to let go of. And I need to build a better foundation of what would actually make me happy. Maybe it's not about the money. Maybe it's not about that person. Maybe it's not about this external state, right? Maybe it's just an internal place that you can go within, meditate, journal, see what comes up for you, do something that really nourishes your nervous system, take a nap, EFT tap, do things that really, really help you in this way. So that's going to be really important to do this week. Your oracle cards are practice. So just know some things do take time. Continue to show up, continue to practice. That's great. Don't worry about this. And you also got rest. This is a week to really rest with that full moon in Aquarius. I will say that. You also got listen quietly. So listen to what your intuition is telling you to do. I love this card. That is it for your tarot reading for this week, friend. If you'd like to join me for a manifestation ritual with the Moon Sign Creative Community, I'll leave a link to that down below for you. If you'd like a private session with me and we can dive deep into your birth chart, I'll leave a link to that also down below. Clients have gotten such amazing breakthroughs after just one session with me. I've had a client who's gotten 50K more in her business after a session. I've had a client who's changed careers, launched their astrology practices. I've had clients find their fiancés and husbands. I've had clients really prioritize their self, learn to love themselves in a deeper way, really stop any self-sabotaging behavior in their relationships, and really understand that they're in a healthier relationship. So they've gotten such amazing, amazing results from my birth chart readings. If this is something you want help and support with, I'll leave a link to that down below for you. And thank you so much for watching, friend. Just remember, the universe has your back. And with peace and love, take care.